So, Steven Birkelbach, I invited you out here because I want to get to know you. I want people to get to know you. I'm tired of people gossiping on idle chatter. People talk about other people here. There's comments about you here. There's comments about you there. I want to get to know you. I want everyone to understand who you are through your own words.
Okay.
And I'm going to ask you some questions.
I like tough questions.
Awesome. Let's start with a question. What inspired you to run for city council?
What inspired me to run for council is I realized about 2 or 3 years ago that the citizens of Pilot Point had no voice. At the hierarchy here in Pilot Point is not as it should be. It should be the citizens should keep the city council accountable, and the city council should keep the city manager accountable. And I found out about 2 or 3 years ago that that's not the case, and the citizens of Pilot Point have no voice, and my passion is to get that voice back to the citizens.
What is the role of a city councilman?
City councilman is, I believe, my opinion is city council members should be a conduit for the voice of the citizens. They're not there to tend to the needs of the person to the right of them, tend to the person to the left of them, or the mayor. They're there to tend to the needs of the citizens, and then hold the city manager and city attorney accountable, so that the city manager can hold his people accountable as like code enforcement officers and chief of police officers, and they have to keep everybody accountable. And if the citizens keep the council accountable like they should, then the council member should just be a conduit for the voice of the people.
So, in your view, what are the top 3 challenges currently facing the community?
The 3 challenges facing the community is most importantly is the growth. People are afraid that they're going to lose their small town feel here, and which they probably are. I feel that we're in a transition period between a small town and a very large town where it's growing, and we're going to have some growing pains. Number 2 is probably like infrastructure, drainage, roads, etc. And then the 3rd is probably getting businesses here and getting a tax base going.
So how are you gonna fix that? What is your idea of helping fix those 3 things?
Being a big giant voice for the people of Pilot Point. And like I said, I think is once you're the voice of the citizens of Pilot Point, everything will iron itself out.
I don't want to leave any holes. I want people to feel like you're being challenged. So why don't you expand on that a little bit? So you represent the people. What does that mean? What does it mean? So say your next door neighbor tells you this, and somebody across 455 says, this. How do you reconcile the two? Because you have some, the way Elisa says it, you have proper Pilot Point proper, and then you have people outside. How do you weigh those out?
That's a good question. That's going to be the toughest part of the whole 3 years if we get elected, is trying to find the good balance between what this neighbor wants and that neighbor wants. And you're not going to make everybody happy, but you want to get to a point where it's good for everybody. It's a win-win for everybody. But like I said, you're never going to make everyone happy, but you're going to have to listen to everyone, and you're going to have to take everybody's voice into consideration and find a happy medium.
So can you provide an example of how you're going to work with your other council members to come together and govern this city?
Well, first, you don't do it behind closed doors. You do it with 100% transparency, because we're there for the citizens and only there for the citizens. We're not there for ourselves. But opposition is great in the council, and governments need opposition. And so that's a hard question to answer, because you don't want to get along with all of them all the time. You want to have oppositions. You want to have different opinions, and but it just goes back to, you got to find you're not going to make everybody happy, and you just got to find the happy medium that's going to work best for the whole city and the future of the city.
What strategies have you thought about? Have you thought about any strategies of how to get more people engaged? We have a whole half of the city that's not engaged.
Right.
How do you plan on bringing in more people, getting more vocal, and representing those people that don't stand up?
Well, I've been fighting for this for 2 years now. Everybody can contest to that. Town hall meetings, one-on-one meetings, getting out, being transparent. As long as you don't shut yourself behind closed doors and have government behind closed doors, and you actually interact and talk with the citizens and interact with the citizens, they'll get engaged. And there's not a whole lot of strategy more than that I know of. Just get out and get engaged. Town hall meetings, and even social media. I know the sitting council members are anti-social media, but we aren't in 1980 anymore. We're in 2025. So social media is a good thing. It's a good outlet and a good access to the people and get them engaged.
Man, so how do you plan to balance the economic development with the preservation of this town? Because you have two sides of the city that we have to move forward. But there's another side of the city that says, I don't want to change anything. So that's what a lot of people are worried about. We need the growth. We need the infrastructure to stabilize what's coming to town. But yet when we have a lot of people in the city that are holding their hand out saying, no, don't change anything in this city, how do you negotiate that?
Well, it's going to be a tough challenge, just like Mayor Beasley has said over and over and over. She says that the people that own the land win, the people with the money win. So there's not a whole lot you can do to keep the growth from coming. You've got to just manage it and do the best that you can to, and then keep the history here in town at the same time. But like Beasley says, the person with the land wins, the person with the money wins, and that's always going to be the case here in Texas, and so we just got to do our best to manage it to where it makes, it's a win-win for everyone.
Perfect. Let's see. Steven, we had to move because the sun was getting in our face. I didn't want to get you too much sun and not be able to see you. So can you elaborate on your arrest? Because there's talk. People are going to say you did this, you did that. What did you get arrested for?
The story goes, it was I was not getting along with my neighbor. My neighbor has a close tie to the city. I was starting to get harassed by the code enforcement and the police officers here in town, and this harassment continued and continued and continued, and it just pushed me to a point where I just started getting rude with the code enforcement, and then I was getting rude with the police officers. But the straw that broke the camel's back, as I was riding my dirt bike on my 5 acres one day, and my lovely neighbor called me in to the police because I was riding a dirt bike motorcycle on my property. The police come over and they go past my no trespassing signs all the way to the back of my property to find me. And then when I saw this happening, it aggravated me, and I wasn't too nice to the police officers. I was talking pretty ugly to them, and I told them to kick rocks and get off my property. And the very next day, I had an arrest warrant for something I still to this day can't really describe or know what happened. It hit me it blindsided me, and I got arrested. And Rex Marks was the leader of this arrest, and he was the brain behind the arrest. And he thought it was funny. He made jokes about it, and he laughed about it, and he held this charge over my head for exactly 2 years, because they could only hold a charge for 2 years before it's expunged and goes away. And then once the very day that it was expunged and 2 years went past, that's the day the pilot point got introduced to Steven Birkelbach. I got pushed back into a corner and I came out swinging. And but the arrest was 100% retaliatory by Rex Marks, and he actually told me if I didn't like getting arrested, that I needed to move out of town. And all this harassment was just to try to get me to move. by Britt Lusk and Rex Marks and the good old boy gang. But
You know, the people don't seem to understand. I want Pilot Point to understand what rights are. Do you have to file or anything to make your property no trespassing?
no, all you have to do, there's two ways to trespass somebody off your property. One's to post it with signs and make sure that you have good fencing and property indicators, and the second is to verbally or written trespass them, and that goes for the police officers too. So when the police officers don't have a crime, there's three reasons police officers can come up on your property, and I won't go through them, but just because you're riding a dirt bike motorcycle on your property, and if it's not against the law, they cannot come up on your property. They can't come past no trespassing signs.
So I also want to touch on, because you were rude. You said some mean things. But where in our Constitution as a country that you can't say mean things on your property when people are trespassing?
That's like I said, I'm a huge constitutionalist, and one of the amendments of the first Constitution is freedom of speech, and it doesn't, as long as it doesn't incite riot or threaten somebody's life, then you can do what you want. It says nothing about being rude, and I just had enough. I was rude, just like any true red-blooded Texan would be at the point that I was at, and I was rude, and I wound up getting arrested for it.
You know what? We're going to make sure that nobody that is rude in this city ever gets arrested again.
If I have anything to do with it, there will be no more retaliatory arrests or retaliatory tickets, retaliatory code enforcement officers. The citizens are going to come first, 100%, and everything else is secondary after that.
I absolutely commend you for this. I love that you're fighting. You are a fighter, because that's what we need. We need people that are going to stand up for us even when it's uncomfortable. And I appreciate you. I appreciate everything you've done. Hey, do we do everything 100% perfect? No. But what you can't change is who the person is, and I really love who you are.
And I appreciate all of y'all. I appreciate Pilot Point. I appreciate your vote. I promise you won't regret it if you vote for me.
So we've talked about it a little bit. What is your stance on the City Council decision to pursue legal action against a citizen?
My stance on that is you should never sue yourself, and that's exactly what City Pilot Point did. The citizen is Pilot Point. They wound up suing a citizen of Pilot Point with the citizen's own tax money, and it was a bad situation. There is no good reason for what they did. The city council member that was petitioned had, everybody comes at the situation arguing that, that the person that got petitioned didn't break the law. That's not what the Constitution says. The Constitution says that we have a right to petition, and we can petition if we don't like the way they look, the way they talk, the way they act, the way they smell. Petition is a petition, and what they did was completely wrong. And I wish they would come out and apologize for it and own up to it, but I don't believe they're going to. But
how would you have handled that situation differently?
If I was council member at the time of the petition, I would have, I stand on the Constitution my whole life, and I'll stand on it till the day I die. And if we have a First Amendment right to petition our government, and I'm going to stand on the Constitution. If the citizens, 110 citizens, want to petition and remove a council member, then that's what we're going to do. We're going to remove the council member, put them on the ballot, and let the citizens vote for them or vote against them. But this city council member that got petitioned got the seat going unopposed, never got elected into that seat, just got appointed to that seat, and there was nothing wrong with putting her on the ballot and having a vote and letting the citizens decide whether she was there or not, and there was no need for a lawsuit.
Perfect. What do you think is the reason City Hall is run the way it is?
The reason is I'll go back to what I was saying. The hierarchy here in town is not the way it should be. The citizens should be keeping the council accountable. The council should be keeping Britt Lusk accountable, and we should be sticking with one charter, which is the city charter. We're not sticking to one set of rules, And that's a big problem with businesses coming into town, because the businesses are just scared to death to come into town because they don't know what they're going to expect, because the city of Pilot Point does not follow one set of rules. At the city council and the city management position, the rules are always way to the side of whatever it benefits them. It never benefits a citizen, and that's not right.
Cool. Steven.
Yeah.
Good old boys. What do you think a good old boy is?
A good old boy is what I've been calling oligarchy. It's just a group of men that are making all the rules and calling all the shots here in Pilot Point. So when I moved here in 2017, I bought a piece of property over on Massey Road, and before I moved and bought that property, I probably had at least 12 people tell me, be careful with Pilot Point because the good old boy system runs thick over there. And I thought, well, I'm just a family man. I'm a God-fearing constitutionalist, and the good old boy system's not going to affect me. And I was completely wrong. I lived it. I bought the property, and the good old boy system came in and just threw a hand grenade in my life. And so the good old boy system's real. And for people that doubt it, the people that are not believing it, those are the people that haven't been affected by it. There's a lot of people that have been affected by the good old boy system here in Pilot Point, and I was one of them, and that's one of the reasons why I have a passion to become city council member, because with the good old boy system clashing with the growth coming into town, it's going to be nothing but a circus, as it has been for the last 2 years.
I'm a big believer in, if you deny the good old boy system, you're kind of in the good old boy system.
You're in the good old boy system if you deny it. Yes, you're not affected by it, but I have been affected tremendously by the good old boy system here in Pilot Point.
Outstanding. What else are we missing? What do you want to talk about that I haven't covered?
I just think Pilot Point has a potential to be something great. It's got a lot of history. It's got it's a beautiful part of the world. It's got a lot of great people, and it's got a potential. But we're never going to meet that potential as long as we keep going through, going to the high top and doing the circus act that we've been doing for 2 years. We've just got to get the citizens their voice first, so that we can get the city of Pilot Point to its full potential.
Man, Steven, please tell everybody watching this, why should I vote for you?
You should vote for me because I'm unfiltered. I'm not a politician, and I speak what's on my mind, and I'm 100% here for the citizens of Pilot Point. I'm not going to be here for the council member sitting to my right. I'm not going to be here for the council member sitting to my left. I'm going to be 100% available, and my ears are going to be open 100% of the time for the citizens of Pilot Point. And as everybody could notice, I've got a loud voice, and it's unfiltered, and I'll make things happen.
Hey, Steven. So who else in this race to council? Hold on, wait a second. Who is that? Kelly, get your butt up here. So who else should we be voting for in this system? Because I have my ideas who needs to be voted for. Who do you think should be voted for?
If we want the best voice, if we want the best voice for the city, we want to vote for Brian Ingram for place number 5. We want to vote for Kelly Burgess, place number 4, and Steven Birkelbach, place number 6, and without a doubt, Mayor Beasley for the mayor.
So I've heard that Brian, you, and Kelly are on a, you know what, I call it ticket because what my life is in, but y'all are saying you're going to team up.
Team Citizen.
Team Citizen, that's us.
Team Citizen. I love the ring of it, and I hope you guys come. Kelly, I'm going to kick him out real quick so I can talk to you.
Okay.